Seven Taoist Masters, continuing from chapter 11. Master Wang had not been recognized in the local village where the monastery or the ashram or the settlement, the dera, where the Taoist aspirants were practicing. But word soon spread about Master Wang, and the villagers became curious about what kind of man was this. And in the village, a farming community, they were getting worried that there was not rain coming. And so they wanted to see if Master Wang could do anything for them. They went over and asked Master Wang, when will it rain? When will be the end of this drought that we're having so much troubles? We're not able to do our farming. Master Wang told them to go to the Earth God Temple in the eastern section of town. On the wall they will see the date on which the rains will come. Ma Yang relayed the information to the villagers. So they went to the Earth God's temple, and they actually lit a torch, and they saw in the wall that it was written, the Wang family will be crowned with pearls. On the 23rd day of the month it will rain. The mouth of the monk is filled with mud. And the man that was reading this said, well, these are just words strung together nonsensically. There's no logic to this. And someone else said, did you know the second phrase, it clearly says that it will rain on the 23rd day? Well, that was just a coincidence, said another man. I am afraid you are fooled by this self-proclaimed immortal Wang Chengyang. Look, today is the 19th day of the month. These words said that it will rain on the 23rd. We need not argue. Let us wait for the 23rd before we decide whether Wang Chengyang is a fraud or not. After all, we need only wait 4 days to find out. And after that, they saw that in the 23rd day the skies started turning dark with rain clouds, and suddenly the rains came and did not stop till late afternoon. And then this made Master Wang be recognized without dispute as an immortal that could see into the future. A few days later, a villager from the northern section of town who had lost a water buffalo came to Wang Chengyang for help. Wang Chengyang said, go to the tallest tree in the southern section of town. Climb to the top of the tree where the birds build their nests, and you will find the water buffalo. The man laughed and said, Master, surely you joke. How can a water buffalo climb up the top of the tree? Wang Chengyang simply replied, if you want your buffalo, climb the tree. Well, the man decided that there was no harm in climbing a tree, so he would at least try it. He climbed the tree, and he found that it was an unobstructed view of the whole town. So he looked over toward a branch where a bird's nest was perched, just like Master Wang had instructed him, and he saw his water buffalo chained inside an abandoned house. The roof of the house was collapsed to reveal the animal, which was tied to one of the pillars. So it turned out that a thief in the town was stealing livestock and hiding them in an abandoned house. He would wait for the nightfall and then lead the animals to another village to be sold. On the same day that the villager found his buffalo, a boy of 13 or 14 years old asked Wang, "My brother has been away from the village for a long time, and we have not received any messages. Can you tell me when he will return?" Wang Chengyan replied, "Go home and ask your mother." The child ran off, not believing that what Wang Chengyang told him. As he entered the house, he saw his mother holding a letter. Seeing her son, the mother called him and said, "My son, come and read this letter to me." The messenger said that it came from your brother. The child read aloud, "To my mother, greetings. Since my father's dead, you have brought me up and taught me to be an honorable man. Now I have a chance to carry on the business that father has left me. I have traveled far and have made many successful business transactions. Because there has been a delay in a shipment of some goods, I shall not be able to return by the date I have promised. Please do not worry about me. When the autumn wind blows, around the middle of the 9th month, I shall be home." The child had scarcely finished reading when he clapped his hands and said, "This is incredible! This is incredible!" His mother was about to ask him what was so incredible when she heard the voices of 5 or 6 men at the door. When the boy opened the door, one of the men asked if he knew the way to the Ma mansion. The boy said, "If you are going to the Ma mansion, then you must be looking for the immortal." The man said, "Yes, we have come a long way to see him." The boy said, "I know the way. It is not far from here. I'll take you there." They arrived at the Ma mansion and, entering through the front door, saw Ma Tangyang, who greeted them. When the men informed him that they had come to seek the teacher of the Tao, he led them through to the back garden to the meditation hall. In this group was a man called Tan Chun Tuan. His Taoist name was Tan Chang Chen, meaning eternal enlightenment. He had met Master Wang a few years earlier when Wang Chengyang had journeyed from Shenxi province to Shantung. Tan Chang Chen had had a weak constitution and was severely ill at the time. Wang Chengyang taught him certain Taoist practices for strengthening his immunity to disease. Tang Chang Chen not only made a remarkable recovery, but found that in the years since he had practiced the techniques, his health had improved dramatically. He had wanted to seek out Wang Chengyang to study with him, but only now, when Wang Chengyang's fame began to spread in Shantung province, had he been able to obtain information as to the master's whereabouts. Soon as he found where Wang Chengyang was, he immediately went over to seek him. And this speaks so much to me personally, because before meeting Master Ishwar Puri, I was following a different path with meditation, but I was not able to sit properly anymore for meditation because I had become so sick. And Ishwar was the one who healed me through coincidences, because this was a string of events that ultimately led me to meet Ishwar Puri Maharaj. And if I told the whole story, people would not believe me, but I know that it was him. And those coincidences led me to meet him finally. So it's all part of the plan. In this case, this particular disciple was actually taught by him personally by Master Wang, and sometimes it comes through different means, but definitely with the teachings that you receive from a perfect living master, that you follow your intuition and you follow the coincidences that are a confirmation of your inner knowing. So when things start happening in the outside that are also such a small probability of happening, that are confirming what you were already intuiting on the inside, then these are clear indications of how you should be leading your life, where you should be going, what is the right path for you. And this is really how the master communicates. And it may not be the actual the physical person, and especially after he passes away in the physical. But within the teachings of the masters, within the Shabd itself, lies all the healing that we need, because all of creation is being manifested through there, and all of the goodness of God comes from there. And when we are sick, it often comes from infirmities, not only of the body, but of our mind, of our conduct, of our sinful nature. And once we correct those things, and once the master helps us to correct all those things, then our health also improves gradually. And then our awareness also improves until we are able to ultimately merge with our master and merge with the Shabd. So Wang Chongyang was asked by this person who he had encountered before whether he could, now that his health had improved, now that his health allowed it, he said, "I would like to spend my life studying the teachings of the Tao with you." To which Wang Chongyang replied, "The teachings of the Tao are open to all. You are free to take what you can. Those who come are not turned away. Those who leave will not be forced to stay." So again, we remember the words of our master Ishwar Puri, that how he remembered his own master Baba Sawa Singh Ji, that he was open, he was, even after initiation, he did not require any disciples to stay with him. He did not force or require anyone to not explore anything else. To the contrary, if you want to take something else, if you want to explore what else is out there, if you find something better, then bring it back to me and show me so I can also take it. So Baba Sawan Singh said that, and Ishwar Puriji was the same way, and he invited us to look at different paths as he himself did in his earlier years. And this is such a great thing, so such counter to a lot of how cults are operating in the world, where you are not able to leave, you are pressured, you are strongly encouraged or even forced to stay within the cult. And this is not it. So here Master Wang is being so open. Take what you can, and those who come are not turned away, and those who leave will not be forced to stay. And so Master Wang was sought out by a lot of different seekers and started to have some more disciples. and he instructed them on the internal alchemy. And one of the disciples that came was Chiu Chu Chi, and he had met Ma Tang Yang, and they welcomed him and very warmly. And they said to him, "It is rare that a young man of such good looks and intelligence is drawn towards the teaching of the Tao. We are delighted to have you here." But when they introduced him to Master Wang. Master Wang eyed Chu Chu Chi intently and then shook his head. "This one's mind is too lively and his intelligence is too sharp. It would be better for him to go home now. Otherwise, his staying will lead to many problems." Chu Chu Chi bowed and knelt down. "Sir, there is nothing else that I want to do but study the teachings of the Tao. Please reconsider and receive me as a student." Wang Chengyang waved his hand to tell Chu Chu Chi to leave. Chu Chu Chi stepped out of the meditation hall but was reluctant to leave the mansion. Seeing the young man's sincerity, Ma Tangyang pleaded to him. But Wang Chengyang explained to his senior disciple, "It is not that my heart is hard, and I do not want to teach him. This young man has much suffering waiting for him if he decides to pursue the path of immortality. I fear that he may not be able to bear the brunt of the suffering, and thus leave the path with misgivings and regret. And in the end, this will just hurt his karma more." So Chu Chu Chi was very disappointed. Ma Tangyang actually saw him that he was still not leaving the mansion. He stuck around. And he asked him, Chu Chu Chi asked Ma Tangyang, "Well, you have been very kind to me and I am very grateful. It looks as though I will not be able to study with Master Wang in this lifetime. May I ask you to be my teacher instead?" And Ma Tangyang replied, "I cannot be your teacher. When you seek the Tao, you must find an enlightened master to guide you. I am not an enlightened teacher. I know only some of the introductory techniques. As for guiding you in the path of the Tao, I am incapable of such a task. My learning is still shallow and my training inadequate. However, do not despair. When I see the chance, I shall speak with the master again and ask him to receive you as a disciple." Chu Chu Chi thanked Ma Tangyang many times and became a member of the community of Taoists in the Mao Mansion. So Chu Chu Chi proved to be hardworking and conscientious helper in the household. He accepted duties cheerfully and good-naturedly. He was polite and friendly. Everyone liked him and agreed that he added much joy and vitality to the household. But then, when Master Wang gave his discourses and expounded on the Tao, Chu Chu Chi would become so excited that he would interrupt him and blurt out, "Yes, that's correct, and yes, that is right, that's what I should be doing." And so one of the times that he did that, Master Wang stopped his lesson and returned to his room. And this had been caused obviously by Chu Chu Chi. Um, so all of this time he was thinking to himself. The master talked about the cultivation and taming the heart, but he was really referring to the cultivation of the Tao because the Tao is in the heart. So to attain the Tao, I must first tame the heart. So from this day on, Chu Chu Chi watched his actions carefully and tried to practice Wang Chengyang's instructions in his daily life. And so on one of these occasions, again, he could not control his reactions, his excitement, and this time Master Wang got said angrily to him, "I told you to see to it that he returned to his home. Why is he still here?" And they said, the other disciples said, "Chu Chu Chi sincerely came to seek the Tao. Please let him stay." And Master Wang said, "I told him to leave because I am afraid he may not be able to bear the sufferings that he will encounter in his pursuit of enlightenment." But again, the disciples convinced him, and he finally said, "All right, I shall accept him as a disciple." Turning to Matang Yang and the others, he said, "I shall entrust him to you. Look after him and see that he does not get into trouble." Wang Yang then was given the name Chu Chu Chi, uh, the Taoist name of Chu Chang Chun, meaning eternal spring. And after a brief initiation ceremony, Chu Chang Chun officially joined the brotherhood of Wang Yang's disciples. But he again got into trouble. He was a very intellectual young man. He was quite young, and on some of the discourses of Master Wang, he would not stop speaking about how his understanding of what he was expounding. And Master Wang again got angry with him, and he told his disciples to drive him out of the community, and that he was going to go away, that he was very frustrated by Qiu Changchun. He was going to go to the south. He was going to take a couple of the disciples, excluding Qiu Changchun. But Qiu Changchun was a very, very sincere person and very devoted young man. And when he heard all this, instead of being hurt, instead of being discouraged about the path, he followed the Taoist monks that were leaving the mansion and going to the south, and he was catching up with them. He was running behind them, and Ma Tangyang was the one who saw that Chu Changchun was following behind, and he said, "What are you doing here?" Ma Tangyang inquired. Chu Changchun said, "I am following the master." Ma Tangyang said, "Did you not hear that the teacher decided to leave because he was annoyed by your behavior? If you insist on going with him, it will make him unhappy." Chu Changchun said, "I know that the master is not really angry with me. He scolded me because he wanted me to learn. If I did not follow him, I would be ungrateful." Ma Tangyang said, "You cannot go like this. You are not dressed in Taoist robes. It would cause the master and the others a lot of trouble if you dressed differently. Let us go back to the mansion and I shall get you the appropriate garb." Chu Changchun thanked Ma Tangyang gratefully. Soon Chu Changchun was cloaked in Taoist robes. Hurrying down the road, he soon caught sight of Wang Chengyang and the others. They all returned to the mansion. And the people who had left had begun to return. Within a few days, the mansion was again bustling with activity, was really becoming to be concerned, because he said, "These people are here because their interest was roused at the moment, or because they are afraid of dying, or because they are following the crowd. None of them have the discipline and sincerity to cultivate the Tao. If they continue to stay, they will distract those who are sincere. I must find a way to make them leave." And then he devised a plan. Immediately he started to cough violently, emitting loud gurgling sounds. And when the disciples came running to his room, Wang Chungyang said, I was not careful on the road, and I must have gotten a strange infection. Opening his tunic, he revealed rashes and boils all over his body. Ma Tangyang, Liu Changshen, and Qiu Changchun immediately went to fetch a doctor. Wang Chungyang took the prescribed medicine, but the rashes and boils got worse. Pus flowed from the rashes, and few could stand the stench. Many of the students began to whisper among themselves. We came to learn from an immortal. Wang Chungyang is so ill that he cannot even save himself. How can he help us? Maybe we should go home or find another teacher. We are wasting our time here. So one by one the students began to leave. Within 2 days, all the students had left except for Ma Tangyang, Qiu Changchun, Liu Changsheng, Hao Taiku, Tang Changchen, and Wang Yuyang. Wang Chengyang summoned them to his room and said, Tomorrow at 11 a.m. I shall die. Since my arrival at Ma Tangyang's home, I have spent his wealth helping the poor and building a retreat. Almost all of the money is gone now. An elaborate funeral costs money, and you should not sell the property to cover the expenses. Therefore, after I die, do not arrange for funeral ceremonies or have monks chant for me. Do not even mourn for me. Get a coffin and put my body in it. Qiu Changchun, Tan Changchen, Hao Taiku, and Wang Yuyang will carry the coffin. Liu Changshen will lead the group to Mount Chungnan in Shenxi province, the place where the carrying ropes break will be where I shall be buried. If you do not follow my request, I shall not rest in peace. The next morning, Wang Chengyang assembled his 6 disciples in the meditation hall and spoke to them. The dual cultivation of life and of original nature is the essence of my teaching. If you cultivate life only, your virtues will be incomplete. If you cultivate the mind only, your body will be impure. Therefore, you should balance your external and internal training. Externally, you must be careful with all your actions. Be careful of what you say, what you think, what you do, and how you feel. Watch your intentions. Your mind should be empty of desire. Internally, you should dissolve all ideas of form. The techniques of cultivating the internals cannot be grasped through form. If you retain even one speck of form, your fires will not be truly young, and your body will not be pure. The obstacles to training are laziness, impatience, and desire for results. Consequently, people stagnate in their development, or try to practice techniques that are way beyond their ability, or are too attached to progress. Not only can they not attain the Tao, but they will risk danger and harm to the body. Wang Chengyang then presented a book to Ma Tangyang and said, This book contains my teachings. It shows you ways of cultivating the Tao. The 6 of you should consult it often. It will advise you as to what to do when you encounter problems. The theory behind the techniques is easy to understand. The difficulty of these methods lies in the practice. You do not have to worry about your friend Sumpur. She is well on her way to becoming an immortal. I no longer need to worry about her. But each of you here will meet with obstacles in your training. Liu Changshen, you have not emptied your mind of forms and sexual attraction. Hao Taiku, you must wander east and west, but you will not attain the Tao until you have climbed the cliff edge mountains. Tang Cheng Chen, your meeting with one named Ku will show you still cling to preconceptions. Wang Yu Yang, your powers will not mature until you meet with one named Yao. Qiu Cheng Chun, your hardships will not end until you reach the river that floats over many boulders. After speaking these words, Wang Chengyang stopped breathing. The disciples followed Wang Chengyang's instructions and put his body in a coffin. They tied carrying ropes around it, and the next morning, led by Liu Changshen, Chu Chun, Hao Taiku, Tan Changchen, and Wang Yu Yang, carried his coffin and began their long walk to Shenxi. And along their travels, they encountered some problems, uh, but they finally encountered a man who had a dream that some people would be coming and that he would give them a plot of his land for the burial place of the person that was in the coffin. And so they did that. He did that. And Chu Changshen then related to the old man that they encountered that Wang Chungyang wish was to be buried at Mount Chungnan, at the place where the carrying ropes broke. The old man said, "Your master's coffin is now resting on land that is my property. Let us honor your master's last wish and bury him here." He beckoned to his servants and told him to dig the burial hole. The disciples administered last rites for Wang Chunyang, and the coffin was lowered slowly into the ground. A burial mound was erected, and as the disciples were preparing to leave, the old man said, "Come to my home for dinner." They accepted, and after dinner, Chung Cheng Chun and Liu Changshen asked for directions to Wang Chungyang's home village, for they deemed it proper to notify Wang Chungyang's relatives of his passing.